happening around the world and in the US. Stay with us.
Good evening, I'm Benita Singla here at the NASDAQ in New York City. Welcome to NASDAQ Live. Joining us today is Ketul, Associate Portfolio Manager at EQC Funds. How are you today, Ketul?
I'm good, and thanks for having me on the show, Anita.
How did the bond auction in Italy go?
I think the bond auctions in Italy went very well. The 10-year yields went down from 7.56% to about 6.98%, which is a very big jump and in the right direction. Moreover, yesterday, Italy came out with 6-month treasury bill auctions, and the yield over there reduced by half. So I think that's a very big step in stabilizing the markets. This is primarily because of the liquidity that the ECB injected in the markets on December 22nd. What happens is the banks got the money from the ECB at 1%, and now they are able to lend it out at anywhere from 4 to 6% in terms of sovereign debt. So there's definitely an arbitrage over there with the banks are using it to their advantage.
And what does all this say about Italy's borrowing conditions?
I think Italy's borrowing conditions are improving drastically, especially in the last 1 month. And with the stance that ECB has taken about injecting liquidity in the market whenever it requires, I think this could go in the right direction and continue improvement in 2012.
And any speculation as to what ECB President Mario Draghi might do to stabilize the Eurozone debt crisis?
Mario Draghi has done an excellent job so far. He has done a host of things. First thing, he reduced the interest rates by 25 basis points to 1%. That's not the perfect solution, but it's a step in the right direction. Second, he increased the duration of the temporary loans that it provides to the Euro region banks from 1 year to 3 years. I won't even call them temporary anymore since they are 3 years. That's an roundabout way of doing quantitative easing, I would say. Third, it went ahead and actually injected 700 billion on December 22nd into the Euro region. Now, this is a big boost because this helps the banks to go ahead and buy the sovereign debt. So it's indirectly helping the sovereign debt crisis, but it is through the banks. And the fourth and the most important one is that it indicated that after the 700 billion tranche that it gave out, in February of next year, it would provide further assistance as much as required. So I think that builds up a strong platform in a way to attack the crisis. So far, we had no direction and no real commitment in terms of the money put into the market. But this provides a very good commitment, and it provides a path to solving the problem.
And how are the ECB's actions impacting the euro?
ECB did a U-turn in terms of its policy. Previously, its policy was clearly stated that they will not go to the route of printing money. With its December 22 700 billion liquidity injection, that's a U-turn. They are printing money, and that obviously reduces the value of the euro. So as expected, the value of the euro is declining.
And what challenges does the Federal Reserve face in stabilizing the banking sector here in the U.S. heading into 2012?
I think 2012, one of the biggest risks for the banks in the U.S. was a sovereign default of a Euro region country. Now, if the probability of that decreases, and which has been happening in the last 1 month, I think there is very little that the Federal Reserve would do to help the banking sector. The banking sector in the U.S. is much better, is in a much better condition than some of its other counterparts in China, in Europe, and it has a solid balance sheet. A lot of banks have sold a lot of their assets since 2008. So I think the Federal Reserve probably might not have to do a whole lot to help the banking sector.
All right, and you are a portfolio manager at EQC Funds. So I'm wondering if you have any investment tips for our viewers.
Investment tips, I always tell anybody who wants to listen that I would focus on cash rather than a promise of cash, which gets me back to good dividend yielding, good cash flow type companies. And the reason I say that is we did a study about 2.5 years back about the returns of the S&P 500 for the last 50 years, not 1, 2, but for 50 years. And our conclusion was that anywhere from 30 to 50% of the returns come from dividends. So if you are not investing in a stock that gives out dividends, you are kind of starting the race at a zero point versus somebody starting the race at a 50-meter point in a 100-meter race. So, and this was true for any particular decade also, anywhere 30 to 50% of your returns from dividends. So that gives me a lot of confidence that if you want to be in this game and beat the markets, one of the best ways to go about is look for cold hard cash. And